So in 20 years, we've seen lots of marriages, babies born. A young woman was helping me set up today, Katie's daughter, Ashley, and of course I wasn't setting things up just quite right. And I said, do you know how long we've been doing this? Just as an aside, how old are you? We've been doing this 20 years when your grandfather was the board member and his wife started the very first Black and White. She said, really? So Bob Harrington, where are you? And Louise Taylor, I know you're here. There you are. The very first Black and White, 20 years ago, was their idea. Thanks. I'm just saying. Thanks a latte. Okay? I'm a little tired. 20 years. Welcome again. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your support year after year. I just want to take a quick minute and thank our sponsors, because without them, we'd be nowhere. So, It Works Foundation, Kate, yay, thank you for everything that you do. You make the world a better place, you really do. And it's a boy, in case you didn't notice. She's having a baby, it's a boy, yay. Fidelity Bank, Twyla, every year you come through for us, thank you. GTL, Urology Partners, Early Learning Coalition, Paul Scharf, where would we be without you? Blake Medical Center, Lakewood Ranch. Okay, I got to put the glasses on. I can only kid that I'm young for so long. Hey, there it is. The Bradenton Herald, Rice's Appliances, Shin & Company, One Blood, BBT Insurance. Yay, One Blood. I'm glad the big red bus isn't outside. I thought I might have to give blood tonight. Roy's Automotive, the Beach Bistro. Sean, Susan, thank you for supporting us for all these years. You are the best. Bells, my friend T.Ann Doyle. Wait till you see the PowerPoint. She is my editor and PowerPoint diva. METV. Charles, where would any of us in this community be without you? And Scientific League, the ever-popular Audrey, who is our graphic designer, who designs all the invitations and the things that you see that people say, oh, you did a beautiful job. To me. And I'm like, no, it was not me. It was Audrey from Scientific League. So thank you, Miss Audrey. I so appreciate it. You can look the other way. I see you. Hi. We have a short clip thanks to One Blood, who is our partner in so many projects that we do. And so, Mr. Clapsaddle, I need your assistance to run the clip.
It started as your typical normal high school relationship. We were texting all the time, saw each other every day. He would get me flowers all the time. We just were inseparable friends. He began to change, just became very jealous and controlling. He didn't want me to succeed ahead of him. The verbal and emotional abuse ended up turning physical. The only way to describe how I felt during all this time was trapped. There was no way out. I didn't know if I was to tell anybody. He said he would kill them. If I was to tell my mom, he would hunt my mom down. He told me, quote unquote, I know where you work, I know where you live, I know where you go to school and who you hang out with. If you leave me or tell anybody, I will find you and either make your life a living hell or I will kill you. I'm woken up in the middle of the night, phone calls over and over and over. I remember like being tired and I looked at my phone and it was him. He said, if I could just see you one more time, I'll never bother you again. I'm in your neighborhood, I'm just around the corner. If I could just see you for 2 minutes. He said, after everything we've been through over the last 2 years, you can't just give me a hug. He said, we need to have closure. And so when he put his arms around me for a hug, he flipped it open and stabbed me immediately in my shoulder and then in the back of my neck. And the third one was on the side of my face here. And at that moment, I knew that this is a fight for my life and he is going to kill me. The next thing I know, I remember watching him walk away with the knife in his hand back to his truck. I watched his truck just drive away. And that's when I felt myself taking my last couple breaths. And I said, this is it. I know this is it. So my prayer changed and I said, please forgive me for my sins and take me to heaven.
Months after the incident, Melissa was invited to meet part of the team that rescued her that night. That's when she met Cameron, the first responder that helped take Melissa from the ambulance to the helicopter.
It's crazy the way life works out sometimes, and I believe that he is my fairy tale ending, my Prince Charming. Meeting him has changed my whole life, and we're actually engaged now.
Cameron proposed to Melissa at a baseball game.
And on the baseball, it says, "Will you marry me?" And at that same moment of me looking at it, he got down on one knee and asked me. And I was so surprised. I think I could have almost fainted.
Melissa says the blessings since that night keep on coming. After extensive surgeries to repair paralyzed nerves on the right side of her face, doctors say she will be able to have her smile back for her wedding.
I would never want to go through what I went through again, but I also wouldn't change it because it's led me to feel that I have a life purpose. I'm strong, I'm empowered, I'm an advocate. I want to reach out and help other people and be the voice for those who are either hiding in silence or the voice of those who are forever silenced because their abuser succeeded in taking their life.
I met Melissa in February at another conference, and the words that come to my mind when I heard her story were brave, triumphant, and inspirational. Now Melissa takes her story all over the country, and she speaks her story to many people. Now she is a domestic violence prevention advocate and speaker. I'd like to introduce Melissa Dome Hill.
Thank you, everyone, for such a warm welcome. I really appreciate that. And I'm just so grateful to be here and have the opportunity to share my story and raise awareness about the epidemic of domestic violence in our country. Speaking is an opportunity I feel very blessed to have. As you saw in this video, I have survived a horrific attack at the hands of my ex-boyfriend just over 5 years ago. It was a horrific and senseless act of violence that never should have happened, but when I was a teenager, nobody spoke to me about dating violence or domestic violence. I had no idea about the warning signs of abuse. I had no clue how dangerous abusive relationships could be. And I also didn't know how much help is available for victims and survivors through organizations like Hope Family Services. Unfortunately, I fell victim to abuse, and I almost lost my life because of it. I would never want to go through what I went through again, but with where I am today, I wouldn't change it. I know that I lived to share my story and be the voice needed to deliver this message to you tonight. I stand here before you now as a survivor on a mission. Although challenging, I share some of my most fearful and difficult experience with you because the statistics do not lie. According to the National Coalition, domestic violence is a public health crisis in our country, affecting 10 million on average victims annually. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men are currently victims of some form or have been victims of some form of abuse in their relationship. And even more frightening than those numbers is the fact that right now, 1 in 3 teenagers are victims of abuse in their relationships. So when you think about the number 1 in 3, and when you think about teenagers, this is frightening and this is heartbreaking. I'm sure you feel the same if you have young sons and daughters or grandchildren at home. It solidifies the importance of why we are here this evening and why we must continue to raise funding for Hope Family Services to help survivors and their children find safety. And also reminds us why we must raise our voices together, because even being a bystander and being quiet about this issue is why it will continue to wreak havoc on our generation. My speech may not relate to you directly, but I promise that someone you know and love has been affected by domestic violence. I want to give you a little bit of insight in the facts. Domestic violence does not discriminate. It can happen to individuals of any race, religion, culture, or age. Domestic violence doesn't care if you are rich or poor. Domestic violence doesn't care if you're educated or not at all. Victims of abuse can be doctors and lawyers, but also high school dropouts or stay-at-home moms. Abusers can be male or female. Domestic violence occurs in a devastating cycle, one that can cross generations and last a lifetime until someone stands up to break the cycle. As I said, domestic violence does not discriminate. It comes in also many forms. People think of domestic violence as strictly physical abuse, as in black eyes and bruises, but I promise there's many different forms, and all of them are very painful. Emotional abuse, verbal abuse, financial abuse, there could be sexual abuse, and of course, physical violence. The frequency and severity of domestic violence may vary dramatically from relationship to relationship, but the one constant component that remains is one partner's consistent needs to gain and maintain power and control over the other. As I said, it does not discriminate. Rich or poor, educated or not at all. Domestic violence didn't care that I was a 20-year-old young college student with a full life ahead of me when I was called over and over again in the middle of the night and manipulated into meeting my ex-boyfriend to have one last hug and closure from our 2-year relationship. Our relationship with my ex-boyfriend, prior to this phone call, ended 3 months before it because of ongoing emotional, verbal, and escalating physical abuse. He assaulted me on 4 occasions in the last 6 months or so of our relationship, but I was only able to escape and call for help on the final time, and he was arrested. I kept quiet about all of the previous abuse because after he would hurt me, he would threaten to kill himself, and he would show me how he was going to do it. He said, as his girlfriend, I should be helping him, not abandoning him during his time of need. So I agreed to stay, and I tried to get him mental counseling. When I realized the threats were just a guilt trip and he really was not suicidal, that's when the threats turned to me. And he began to threaten to, if I was to speak up or tell anybody about what was going on, he said he was going to kill me or kill my mother. He would also take my phone and keys, and so I could never get away and call for help. He literally thought of every single thing 2 steps ahead of me so I could never get away. And at this time, I was a strong, smart, independent young girl working full-time, in school full-time, but the one thing nobody knew is that I was hiding in the silence of an abusive relationship. I was always walking on eggshells to keep him happy, and I felt completely trapped. I was so relieved when he was finally arrested and I was able to break my silence to my family and end the relationship for good with the help of the police. Unfortunately, the freedom I felt was short-lived. And as you saw in this One Blood video clip, on January 24th, 2012, my whole life changed. On this phone call that woke me up, my ex said, after everything we've been through, can you just give me a hug? I will leave you alone forever and never bother you again. He was crying in my area and doing all he could to convince me to meet him for just a minute. I had an exam at 8:30 the next morning in chemistry, and I knew he would not stop and leave me alone. So I reluctantly agreed. I took my phone and pepper spray in case anything was to happen. I was 20 years old and completely naive, and I ignored the most important gift I feel God gave me and each and every one of you here, and that is my intuition. I had this feeling, inside me that this was not right. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give you, that I hope you'll take with you all of your life, is that you'll tune into your intuition, that little voice inside you that whispers something's right or wrong. We have this ability for a reason to sense this danger, and I hope that you will always follow it. Ignoring mine turned out to be the greatest mistake of my life. The moment I walked outside, as I said, I could feel something was very wrong, but I continued on since I was already outside, 20 years old, and completely uneducated about the fact of after leaving an abusive relationship is the most dangerous time, and it's also when a majority of murders occur. There is no reason after ending an abusive relationship should you meet up with that partner. I hope that you will spread this message with me. If somebody has harmed you in any way, you do not owe them a face-to-face closure. This is a terrifying trend we are seeing over and over called breakup violence. And it's important to realize that when somebody feels they have lost everything, they're capable of anything. So abusers often make their victim everything in their life, so they feel when that is cut that they have lost everything, and that's when usually it takes it to a very dangerous level. So again, I hope that you will spread the message to never meet up with an abusive partner after ending the relationship. But when my ex saw me, he was already standing next to his truck waiting, and he reached his arms around me for a hug. And at that moment, I heard a knife click, and that began the fight for my life. He first stabbed me in the back of my shoulder. The second was in the back of my neck, and the third one was in the side of my face. Total, he stabbed me 32 times using 2 knives, all while my mother slept inside the house. My injuries were very severe. I'll spare you and myself for reliving all of the gruesome details of the attack. But so you know, there was 19 wounds to my head, neck, and face. The rest were in my arms and hands. My skull was fractured, nose was broken, my jaw was broken. Many of my teeth were knocked out. I had my facial nerve was severed, leaving me with paralysis. I was given 12 units of blood overall, and I had my entire blood volume replaced twice. I even flatlined 4 times on the emergency room table, but the trauma surgeon said that if I wasn't giving up, neither was he, and he worked for 3 hours to stabilize me and stop the bleeding. Rock bottom, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And that was Dr. Johnson at Bayfront over in St. Pete is the man who saved my life. But rock bottom, where I fell, became the solid foundation upon which I rebuilt my life. I spent many weeks in the hospital and many months in outpatient therapy. I've had probably 10 or more surgeries to get where I am today. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to talk again, use my hands, close my eyes. I had to learn how to drive my car. I knew I had to get back to my job at the hospital, and I knew I had to get back into school to be a nurse. I wanted so badly to be the Melissa I was before the attack. But what I didn't know at the time is that when you go through something traumatic, it changes you. I couldn't change what happened. All I could do was accept it. I couldn't close my eyes and make the scars disappear. I could not ignore the impending court case and the letters I got every single month. I couldn't ignore the phone calls from the news and the interview requests to answer questions. You cannot change how someone treats you or what they say about you. All you can change is how you react to it. When something bad happens, I feel you have 3 choices. You can let it define you, you can let it destroy you, or you can personally make the choice to rise above and let it strengthen you. I made the decision that the attack was one day in my life and it would never define me. My mom has always said, God did not save me to live an angry or bitter life. I decided to turn my pain into purpose. In October of 2013, the judge decided that Robert Lee Burton Jr. was to be sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. Yes. That was a defining moment in my life. I could no longer silence my inner voice telling me I was saved for something bigger. I knew I had to let go of my plan and follow God's plan. And when I did, everything fell into place. I decided to take a huge leap of faith. I quit my job at the hospital that I worked for so many years. I changed my school plan away from nursing, and I decided to become a full-time advocate for an organization that helped me rebuild my life in Pinellas County called Julie Weintraub's Hands Across the Bay. And every day I walk into work at Hands Across the Bay, I am fulfilling my purpose of why I am still on this earth. We help rebuild the lives of survivors after they leave abusive relationships in partnership with organizations such as Hope Family Services. I also go into schools and share my story to raise awareness about the epidemic of dating violence and domestic violence, the warning signs and what to do for help. Because I wish I knew then what I know now, and I never want another young woman to go through the same. Domestic violence is an epidemic in our society, and the work of Hope Family Services and Hands Across the Bay go hand in hand. Together, we are working tirelessly to raise funding and to shine a bright light to a dark and hidden but completely preventable issue. I feel it is my duty as a survivor to speak out for victims who are hiding in silence and fear, for anyone who has been emotionally beaten down by someone who claims to love them, and for anyone who has been taught they somehow deserve that abuse. I also share my story for my fellow survivor sisters. Our stories may vary, but knowing we are not alone is so important as we move forward together. I share my story for those who are unaware and do not understand the dangerous effects of domestic violence. For those who ask, why does she stay? Or what did she do? Something had to have made him so mad. For those who think she should just leave, I'm here to tell you it is never as simple as just walking away. Women may stay because they are under full financial control. They might have fear that they'll lose custody of their children, or they might be staying because of their children. They might think that that's better, rather than, in fact, they're showing their children that abuse is normal and acceptable. Women may stay because of their religious beliefs, and they think that divorce is not the way to go. Women may think the abuse is normal, and they've grown up in the cycle, and they are just continuing on the cycle, so they think nothing's wrong, and they accept it. And also, women may stay because of the threat of death. Leaving an abusive relationship is terrifying and extremely dangerous, and also, while donating to Hope Family Service is vital for families to create a safety plan, to escape without harm, and rebuild their lives with advocates by their side supporting them. Most importantly of all, I share my story to be the voice for our angels whose voices were silenced because their abuser succeeded in taking their life. I was so close to losing mine, and my promise to all mothers and fathers of murdered daughters or grandchildren, I've made this promise to too many parents. I promise them that I am carrying on their child's voice every time I speak into a school, every time I agree to an interview, and I am carrying on their voice as I speak to you tonight. If you are currently being abused, or if something doesn't feel right with your partner, I hope and pray and beg you to listen to your intuition and reach out for assistance from Hope Family Services to safely end your relationship. I promise it will not get better, and you can only give so many chances before you have to stand up for yourself and say enough is enough. Everyone deserves a healthy, safe, nonviolent relationship. You should be with someone who supports you, respects you, listens to you, and makes you feel safe. Love should never hurt. It is not threatening or intimidating or abusive. I know and I understand that not all men are this way. There are many wonderful men in this room. And as you got a little sneak peek in the video, there is a silver lining to my story I'd like to share with you. And one that I'd never imagined either. In a twist of fate, this horrific night not only led me to find my purpose as an advocate, but also led me to meet Cameron. He is the firefighter on my call who set up the landing zone for the helicopter. He helped load me into it. It is real and true. It is our real life fairy tale, and he is here with me this evening, right over there, yes, okay. I'm making them all nervous. Thank you. So, I'm so blessed to say that I did undergo that nerve and muscle transplant surgery in Boston over the last few years to enable me to smile again. And just 2.5 months ago, my dreams came true, and I was able to smile down the aisle to marry my best friend. Yeah. So, I share this good news in this very serious time to remind you that you can make the choice to have a happy, positive life after tragedy, and that there is life and love after abuse, but you have to love yourself and heal completely before you can be loved by somebody else. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for supporting Hope Family Services. Women often escape with nothing but the shirt on their back, completely broken self-esteem, and little to no hope for the future. The shelter is there to provide hope, healing, and safety. With your donations tonight, you can continue on the legacy of Hope Family Services. I encourage you to please give from your heart, and thank you for letting me share mine. Remember, my name is Melissa Dome Hill. This is my story. Don't let it be yours. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So sweet.
Okay, on that note, wow, I don't know what to say. And I know the story, and I know Melissa, and and the microphones are a little low. There, that's better. Thank you again for being here. And Melissa, you are the reason some of us have been doing this work. I'm 31 years a veteran of this work, and I do it every day because I know that we make a difference. And folks like you helping us spread the message is even more incredible. So I don't know what to say other than thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your story with our colleagues and friends today. So I'm completely lost at what I'm supposed to say now. Just give me a second. I don't even need the glasses. Miss Shar is not here. Never mind. Okay, well, we have a fabulous friend of Hope, George Mendez, who again was one of those board members. I know, I've got to go find him. The show must go on. I'm doing that. So, 20 years ago, I was hired, and Hope was in a bit of a disarray. And the board members brought me in and said, okay, we're going to turn this together. We're going to turn this organization around. And by God, they did. They worked hand in glove with me tirelessly year after year, especially those early days when we didn't have much of anything. Charles, Mr. Clapsaddle, I know you're here somewhere. We just wanted to thank you for all your support for all these years. And we know you need one more plaque in your office. And so let me tell you what it says. Making a difference. It's what you do. Thank you for your partnership, METV and Hope Family Services. Together, we are saving lives. Oh, there you are. Thank you. I have a box. Thank you. And you owe your whole wedding marriage thing to us. Sue, right? I mean, right?
Yes.
Okay. See, whew, thumbs up.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it works. I don't know. I said to Kate earlier tonight, I just have to take a second, a little off script. I don't know how we got so lucky as an organization to form a friendship with It Works and their foundation, It Works Foundation. I don't know if you know who they are. That crazy wrap thing. It's why I look so good. I am wearing a wrap. It's very effective, may I just say. It was years ago. They first came to town. I had the pleasure of meeting the Pentecosts and then Kate. And we just talked about what we did and what they do and how we could work together. And I have to tell you, without a doubt, they have been our #1 corporate sponsor for years. And not just now, at Christmas, they provide things for our kids and back to school supplies. I mean, the list goes on. And a project one day a year, they've pressure cleaned, they've painted. I don't know if I'd even paint the shelter, but there they are. Mark Pentecost, I have pictures of him painting the hallway of our shelter. and for all of that you do, not only for Hope, but for our entire community and really the whole world. We have something for you too. Miss Lisa, I'm not allowed to touch it, it's glass. Could you tell what it says? Because it's beautiful.
Need some glasses. Well, we would like to say, it works. Gives Back Foundation. You make a world of difference. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope Family Services.
Thank you all again for being here. Please don't forget dessert, coffee over here. I'm going to pull this podium out of the way. Charles, thank you again for all your support and taping this and all that good stuff. Shaman, Diane's birthday, thank you. Working on your birthday. Please, let's have a dance, let's have some fun, and thank you for helping us save lives.